Yo, Foodservice Powerplant Network. Happy Wednesday evening. It is 7 o'clock in the great state of Colorado. It is beautiful outside. I just took the dog for a walk. And now I sit here in my office, super stoked. We're gonna do another video where, fingers crossed, the technology works tonight. We're gonna bring on my friend Vickie Musni, who's gonna be on, who I met through the group. Actually, I met through another group. She came and joined our group. She's in food service and has just such a cool story. She's out of Reno, Nevada. Shannon Solomon is watching. Hi, Shannon. I'm gonna wait for Shannon. Wange is watching. Yo, babe. Shannon's watching. Vickie is there. Awesome. Vickie, I'm gonna bring you on in one sec. So tonight should be fun. Vickie is a high energy, really fun spirit who's super creative, super confident, teaches others, I think is an inherent teacher, speaker, coach, trainer, etc. And she's there. We're going to bring you on. So I can't wait to bring her on, and we're going to talk about positivity, some of her insights and background in positivity, and we're going to have a blast. So fingers crossed on the technology, my friends. Shannon, my wife, is watching to let me know if it all goes haywire, but let's give this a shot. I'm trying to bring you on. No whammies, no whammies. Anybody remember that game show? Vickie!
Hello.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good. Okay, I'm gonna put my phone up a little bit because when you came on, it shrunk.
I apologize in advance. I let one of my kids borrow my little phone tripod holder, and it came back in 2 pieces. So I'm going to have to hold my phone. So I'm sorry for any awkwardness that poses, but I forgot that I can't, for whatever reason, join from my computer. I don't know. It's very odd.
I know. That's what I was trying to do last night too, and I don't know why it wasn't working. But
that's okay.
That's all right. George is on. What up, George? Vickie, I'm waving at you, even though you're here. I'm going to give you the wave because I feel
I see it.
There you go. Vickie, tell us, first of all, I think getting to know you through the Foodservice Powerplant Network has been just a personal highlight for me. You're super engaged in the group. You're offering thoughts. You're offering creative stuff in the group. And it's been, meeting new people has been probably the funnest part for me just in general. And you're just such a high energy, positive person that it's been really, really fun.
Thank you. I was really glad to get connected because, especially as a fellow extrovert, this shutdown has been particularly hard on us. I think it's been hard on everybody, but I think it was harder on the extroverts for longer. You know what I mean? Like, it took the introverts longer to realize that maybe they missed some people.
Yeah, sure.
But and I remember when I first asked, I was hesitant because I don't actually work directly, in a restaurant or something. And I go, I don't know, do I really count? Because I do bar and restaurant entertainment. And you said, sure, yeah, that counts. That's close enough. That's related enough. So it's been really fun to see you. And I love the positive engagement in the group. And sometimes I'll just pop onto that group when I'm feeling kind of down and just be like, I wonder what Jason's posted lately, or if somebody else posted something fun or encouraging. And that's where I go to, just find a reason to smile on the days when I need it.
That is so awesome. That makes my day. Shannon Solomon, who's a good friend of mine, she is the director of Aurora Public Schools. They fed over 1 million meals so far, says, I love your smile, Vickie. So it's contagious. Rob is on, Jeff Yates. So Vickie, why don't you take a minute and just tell us a little bit, tell the group about you, your role in food service, and kind of how you're connected.
Yeah. So my business has evolved a great deal over the years since, I would say, 1996. My husband and I started our first business. But for the last 7 years, we have owned and operated a trivia company in Northern Nevada called DJ Trivia. We are actually affiliate owners of a larger national company. So some of you may be familiar with DJ Trivia because they are in about 30 different states right now. But we've been doing it in Northern Nevada for 7 years. And prior to the shutdown, we were providing 21 weekly trivia games a week at different bars and restaurants around town. So we went from 21 events a week to 0 with, screeching halt. So even though, like I said, I don't own a restaurant or I'm not that directly connected, we've been impacted as much as all of our bar and restaurant clients that had to shut down for months as well. So So we get it. So that's my connection to the food and restaurant world, is the entertainment side.
How does it work for you when you're doing these 21 events a week? Is it in person? Is it digital? I don't.
No, they're live hosted events. So it's like a bar or restaurant would hire a DJ, a karaoke person, or a live band. It's entertainment. So the bars and restaurants pay me a flat fee to have somebody come out and do a live hosted game for entertainment, and that brings people in. And then we run leagues. Normally, league got weird this year, but normally we run 2 league periods a year, and that mechanism is kind of built in to build loyalty, because the teams come back week after week to the same place. Their league points only count at their home bar or restaurant. But then if they visit a different one on a different night of the week, they can earn bonus points they can bring back. So it's one of the unique things that we offer as an incentive for our restaurants to work with us. Cool. Because people get excited about the leagues. And then at the end of the league period, we do playoff games and championship games and stuff like that. And so they're playing for, trophies and fairly small cash prizes, but mostly the bragging rights. And I think trivia appeals to people that maybe weren't so good at other more traditional competitive leagues. Not that I'm trying to stereotype, or even as adults, maybe they're just not playing sports right now, and it gives them something to kind of feed that competitive edge and a place to belong and something fun to do. But I love it because it's what helps my bars and restaurant clients have a really good night that used to be a slow night. They bring me in on whatever their slowest night of the week was, and it's my goal to turn it around to the point where their staff are fighting over who gets to work trivia night, because they make as much money in tips as they do on a Friday or Saturday. That's my goal.
That is really awesome. You're like the shot of Red Bull that people need when things are down. And like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm looking at some people in this group. Shannon Solomon says, I love trivia nights at Old Chicago. I've never been good at, it's just never been something that comes to me. But I wonder if you could expand it outside of bars and restaurants. Like, I'm talking to Shannon Solomon here. She runs a school district. Shannon, I wonder if you could do something creative where there were teams and you could bring it into the school cafeteria. I don't know, but.
Yeah, we do private parties, for private events. In fact, I was encouraged just today. I got a request for a private company party for just 30 people, which is exciting because that's under the minimum that we're allowed to do right now in our area, and they could do it safely and spread out.
Way to go.
Right now, out of my 21 clients that I was working with, 10 of them have come back for weekly. They're able to do that. So it feels kind of, fair and poetic in a way that I'm operating at half capacity, since all of my bars and restaurants are currently operating at no more than half capacity. So we're still struggling with them and, just wanting to weather the storm with our clients. So
I love how you go about it. You have such a servant heart, frankly. And I love that you look at that. Like, I'd like to be where my clients are so we can relate, so we can keep connecting. Kate McDevitt is on, my old man, dad, Larry's on.
Well, it's not that I'm happy about being only at half, but frankly, things were so bad for so long, I didn't know if and when I'd be able to come back at all. So I'm trying to just look at being at half as a positive. And I get it that is the reality. And it's important to me that I'm empathetic to my clients, because my business model is based on real relationships. And I need them to understand, if nothing else, when we come out of this pandemic, I want them to remember that I cared about them and that I was there. I didn't just, stop going to their places when they stopped doing trivia. I've probably spent more money that I didn't have at those clients' locations in the last couple months, because I've been just so intentional that I need to go and show my support. And, my kids are old enough, they figured out that every time I say, I'm leaving to go visit some clients, I know they roll their eyes like, oh, mom's going day drinking again. But, but that's my responsibility. I need to go and show my support. So I'll go out and grab a drink and, and I've not ever been one to Instagram my food and beverages, but I have during the crisis, because I feel like that's what I have. I have my social media following, and if I can remind them, hey, this bar may not be able to do trivia yet, but they're back open. And by the way, they have retail options. You can buy a 4-pack or a 6-pack of something when you leave and drink it later, but go and just do something to keep small businesses going.
You are a true partner. You're doing all the right things. I love it. And I'm with you. I'm a big believer that it's these slow times where those relationships are really tested. You find out who really does care, who really is your partner. And when we get going again, that will only just that much more ratify anything you had to, to keep moving forward and grow. Kate says, hey, Jason, hi, my friend Kate. Carl Kisner, one of the smartest guys I know, says, have you been able to shift to a digital format like a Zoom or even including, excuse me, multiple bars when they are only at 25% capacity?
No, and I'll give you two reasons. One, I'm part of a national company and that offering is not available to us.
Okay.
So per my contract, I'm actually not allowed to do any trivia that's not authorized by my company. So there's not an ethical way for me to do that on my own. But B, the real reason I haven't pushed doing it online is I don't see how that is actually helpful to my bars and restaurants. My job is to put people there that are going to spend money and to keep them there. And if I start offering something free online, how does that really help my clients? It might make my players happy for the short term, but my clients truly, first and foremost, are my bar and restaurant clients and their staff. I exist to help their staff get more shifts and earn more tips while they're there. And I just don't see how trying to move everything online is really going to serve the people that my business is supposed to serve. And then the other reason, obviously, is that I don't have a legal, ethical way to do that with my current contract.
When you do trivia, are you showing questions and so forth on a screen?
Yes. Yep. That's one of our requirements. All the venues that we have to have some kind of projection. So we have the first 3 rounds are multiple choice. And so we put the questions on there. That way, if somebody's not dialed in and they're not listening 100% when the host says it on the microphone, they can still see it. But the real reason is if your server comes by and says, hey, you guys ready for another round? Or can I get you some dessert? I don't ever want my players to be like, shh, don't talk to me. I'm going to miss the question.
Yeah.
Because the reason I'm there is to help my places sell more stuff. And so our business is designed, our model is designed to do that. And then the other reason is it gives us more variety. We can throw up picture questions. Who is this celebrity? Here's a map. What country is this? What flag, does this, or what country does this flag belong to? Visual questions that people can do that we couldn't do if we didn't have the screen. So.
I'm just curious, do you know, for anybody watching who owns a restaurant or is in a bar or a nightclub or wherever, what kind of jump do you see in revenue for those restaurants the nights you're there? Like if people haven't done this before and they're like, wow, maybe this could really increase profits. I mean, it sounds like it really drives traffic on the nights you go there.
Yeah. Well, and that's why my job always was pre-COVID to fill the place as much as I could. Now it's kind of harder to measure.
Yeah.
But for me, the measure was, can I make their Tuesday night or their Thursday night, whatever it was, as good as a Friday or Saturday?
Okay.
And because every bar is different and you can't really quantify a dollar amount. I have some littler bars and breweries that maybe only have 35 seats. And then I have some restaurants that potentially could fit 200. So you can't, it's hard to compare, it's not always apples to apples.
Sure. Carl's following up with.
But I do have the ability to track players. And so when I'm talking to somebody new, I'll try to pick a venue that I have that's similar and I can run a report for the previous 3 months and show them exactly by the night, by the week, how many players were there and how many teams overall it was. So they can kind of get a feel, okay, this is a bar that doesn't serve food that's a similar size as mine and they're getting this kind of numbers, or this is a restaurant, that has all ages capacity and they're getting, this kind of response, and then it gives them something to shoot for.
Cool. I love it. Has your company looked at you doing, so let's say you're in I don't know where you are right now, in your living room or your basement or outside, I don't know where you are, but you being able to do the questions and the emceeing, zoom it into a restaurant so that anyone that's in there, I'm trying to think, could do a trivia. Like, I wonder if that would work for them or you.
Well, we're very personal and hands-on, and we're a completely no phone, no app game. Everybody has to have phones down the whole time so they can't Google, can't cheat. So they fill out little answer slips and hand it to the host for every question that they do. So part of what we love is the real human interaction. And I have some fabulous hosts on my team. And I had 13 going into the crisis and I have 11 now. I only lost 2 that had to pick up extra gigs when we were shut down. So that's not too bad.
No, that's pretty good. Cool.
Yeah, so we're just, like I said, my philosophy right now is to weather the storm with my clients and my littler ones that it doesn't make sense for them to come back. I'm not threatening them. I'm going to give away your game. I'm going to book the place across the street from you if I can. It's not that. It's when it makes sense for you guys to bring us back. Maybe it's when we hit phase 3, whatever that looks like, whenever that happens, and it makes sense, we'll come back. In the meantime, count on me showing up at least once a month, spending a little bit of money, posting something on social media, and reminding people to go and do the same.
Love it. Love it. Now, you are a woman of many talents when I talk to you. You have done a lot of cool stuff. And one of the things that is a part of like your full-time, a part of your other full-time gig, you probably have 2 full-time gigs, is you're a speaker and you speak to organizations, companies on personality types. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes, correct.
Okay, so
Yep.
let's say I'm gonna throw a conference and I'm gonna bring you in and you're gonna talk to, 500 different people in food service and what I do, supplies and equipment, etc. What do you come in and teach us
right now?
What's that?
Sorry, I missed that. You lost me. I had this vision of being in a room with 500 people, and I just got teary-eyed because I missed those days.
So let's say right now we've got a few people on. So like if you were going to come in and speak on personality types, just give us a quick synopsis. Like, what do you come in and teach us? What do we learn when you come in and talks about different
The
personality
most
types?
common question I get asked, people want me to help them with sales. Everybody wants to serve their clients better. So in a bar restaurant world, it would be more of a customer service situation, but it would be how to have your front of house staff connect with your clients better to give them a better dining experience. So they either spend more money while they're there or come back more regularly. And it's just about little things that you can observe that would give you a little bit of insight into the client's personality so that you can serve them better and create a better experience. So that's one situation. The other most common one is internal, like understanding your team and the dynamics of the personalities you have and making sure you have the right people and the right seats on the bus,
Yep.
And, you probably don't want to have your most introverted, most shy person being your host or hostess at the front station if they're supposed to be the ones welcoming people.
Yep.
There's little things. Are they in the right place? Or if you're pairing people up for maybe a banquet or a larger party, you probably want to have different personality types there so that they can respond differently and kind of play off of each other. If you have too many extroverts that are like dominating, they can be, a little over the top and maybe alienate some of the people that want a little bit quieter experience. Or if something happens and you've got people that are like really high strung and you don't have any peacemakers, they don't know how to respond in crisis. So I think as managers and owners, we can learn how to pair people for those events in a way that provides balance and that your calming personalities can balance out the high strung, high energy ones. And maybe the high energy people can provide a little boost to the ones that aren't naturally as energetic and maybe get them to kick it in higher gear when they need to also. So just learning about the opposites and how you can, maximize that. So
is there like
and external.
Is it like a type? Is it like a Myers-Briggs kind of thing? Or like, as you're talking about different personality types, is there?
Yes, the one I use is called Wired That Way. That's
Okay.
the test I use. And it is available on Amazon for like $3. And you get this really nice little 8-page booklet with a 40-question print test. The people that have the copyright actually just put it online, and I'm not 100% sure if it's gone public or not, but you can try going to thepersonalities.com and see. But the full test, they literally were just a couple weeks ago, I was helping her proofread it, so I don't know for sure if it's gone live or not, but I was helping get that ready to go online for the first time. And then I have a mini, like, just for fun version that's definitely shorter and more fun, because I couldn't do that exact test because that's not mine, and so I couldn't just put the whole thing on my website because that's not legal. And so I've got one at VickieMusni.com, and you can play around with there. And I've got some other fun resources, like there's a page on there called The Basics. So if you just want the really brief overview of the system that I use colors. And so the short version is yellow, think bright, sunshiny, loud. Okay, those are that's one extroverted personality. The other extroverted personality is on the task side. So think fiery red, high energy, go, go, go. And then the introverted personalities, there's the blue, which is the opposite of the yellow. They are think deep like an ocean. The deep thinkers take a long time to process things. They don't blurt because they actually think about what they're going to say before they say it. Those people. And I don't know anybody like that really. Well, except my dad, but there's nobody like that in my own house. We're kind of a chaotic house. And then green is the opposite of the red, but they're the other introverted one. And they're like, think peaceful green meadows, the natural peacemakers, the calming personalities. So if you can think about those 4 colors and the little symbols, and the difference, I think, I love Myers-Briggs and I've studied it before, but every time I've gone to a workshop or a class or training on Myers-Briggs, you spend 90% of the time talking about the different nuances and all the different combinations that you don't get to the application until the very end. And my philosophy is the opposite. I want to spend 10% of our time, whatever time we have, whether it's a 20-minute lunch and learn or an 8-hour workshop, I want to spend 10 minutes going over, or 10% going over the personality types and 90% talking about why it matters and how we apply that to different situations in our lives and in our businesses. So that's why I think this particular one is really easy to grasp, and then you can focus on what it means and how it helps you.
Yeah, I love it. I do love the simplicity. Okay, so here's a question for you. Let's say anyone watching connects with a particular color that you just mentioned. And I have 2 colors in mind for me, but this is the Powerplant network. We're about lifting ourselves up, lifting others up, being positive, having a positive mindset, tools that we're utilizing to stay upbeat, etc. Kaya's on, Ken's on, so many. I don't know if people are typing. I can't always see.
I'm glad you can see. I can't see the comments from my view. So
well, I could see Carl's, but I haven't seen anyone else. Ed is on from Jersey. What up, Ed? So my question is, how would a yellow, I'm trying to think here, they probably relate to being positive and some of these positive mindset tools differently because they come from different starting places. They're starting at different positions on the track, if you will. So how would maybe a yellow and a blue work towards being hopeful or positive in a time that's really challenging differently, if that question makes sense?
Yeah, and I think we have to step back a little bit because positivity itself can mean different things to different personality types. And I talk about it in the sense of each one having like a core value or a primary need. So for yellows, we crave fun and attention. That's like at the core of who we are. That's why we tell stories and tell jokes. We like to entertain. It's why a lot of us end up in the entertainment space in some form or becoming a public speaker. We love having an audience. But in the restaurant industry, the yellows are the ones that you can hear in the restaurant because they're sitting at their table and they're telling a story. And the people at the next table over start to listen in. And so a true yellow will just start speaking a little bit louder because they don't want those people to have to strain to hear their story, so that is their own way of positivity. So it means, that's what positivity looks like and feels like to a yellow. Things have to be fun and they enjoy being the center of attention. Whereas for a blue, that's not what they need. Blues tend to crave perfection and order. So for a blue, just having all of their ducks in a row can feel really positive. But if you were to put them in that spotlight environment, that is not going to be a positive thing for them. So positivity in itself looks different. For a red, it's efficiency and getting things done, practicality, checking things off the to-do list. That is what excites a red personality and makes them feel like they're having a positive and productive day. And then for greens, honestly, truly, it's comfort. It's comfort and peace. That's what they want. They want to be comfortable. They want people around them to be comfortable. And that's what being positive is. So we have to really look at, are we trying to make ourselves feel better? Or are we trying to be positive to somebody else? Because our natural instinct is to whatever personality we are and whatever feels positive to us, that's what we're going to try to share and do and create for someone else. And so it takes some discipline to say, oh, but not everybody's like me. What would this person really want? And I remember I used the example when, I don't know, when you were a kid, if it was a thing, but like it was a big deal to some people on their birthday in middle school or high school if somebody brought them balloons and they had to carry the balloons around all day. Well, there's certain personalities that craved that, wanted that. Like that would have been the best, most amazing thing that you could do, was to like put me in a tiara and let me carry around a giant balloon bouquet, and everybody would know without a doubt that it was my birthday and it was my day and it was all about me. But other people, that's like their worst nightmare. And so what is positive to you may or may not be positive to someone else. And so I think that's the biggest thing that we can really work on, is to have this knowledge and take the time to say, what does that person really need? You know, what do they really want? And so you can use some of the visual and verbal clues to try to make an educated guess. But at the end of the day, that's the biggest takeaway, is just to remind yourself, not everybody's like me.
Sure.
And yes, I might look at someone and make a guess. Oh, I bet they're a red. I bet they're a yellow. But I might be wrong. I can make an educated guess and try to communicate like that. But, you know, it's part art, part science. And you can use this conversation, though, or this technique in any conversation, in a sales conversation. You can do it when you're, you know, like I said, working with clients that you're sitting down at your restaurant. And some people want to be left alone. Some people want you to go over all of the specials and come back and ask them how they're doing. And, you know, some people want you to offer to take a picture of them as a group. And some people think that's ridiculous. So just kind of trying to learn how to read your audience and find those little nuances of how you can serve them better and create a more personalized experience. Because for some people, if you talk to them a lot, that's going to be a real positive thing and they're going to want to come back. And other people are going to feel like you intruded in their space and it was a negative experience and they don't want to go back there.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. This is fascinating. People are commenting, by the way. Ken says, great insights on personality. Greg Pierce is watching. He manages a restaurant. Kaya is clapping like crazy with the little clap emojis.
Oh, cute.
Which is great. Hold on one second. Can someone get Molly? The dog is going nuts.
As long as my dog doesn't hear her and then start. So I'm in a room with the door shut. So hopefully my dog won't hear yours.
The echo chamber. Is there a color that seems to be able to relate the most or create rapport the easiest with all the other colors?
The greens. They're the most chameleon-like. That's one of their key characteristics, is they're not extremely anything. And they have this ability, like a chameleon, that's like a lizard that starts off green, but can sometimes change colors to its surrounding. Green personalities can do that for a while. Whatever a situation or relationship calls for, they are the most adaptable. But then after a while, they'll kind of have to retreat back to what's comfortable.
Yeah, fascinating. Kaya says, Kaya's out of Miami. I think she says, mind blown. Carl says, even Jason's dog likes the conversation. Correct. Molly's super intrigued.
There we go. She's probably a yellow. So, you know, I have a yellow lab who's very much a yellow personality, wants to be involved in absolutely everything, thinks that everyone that comes over is here to see her and to play with her. So, yeah. That
is great. My dad, Larry, his dog Buddy wants in. Have him start barking, Dad. No one can hear it, so it's good. Kaya wants to know, is the green a pleaser?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I think if I were going to choose one for me, I think I would be somewhere either between the blue or the green. Personally, when I recharge, it is almost always alone with a book or a walk. It's for whatever reason. And yeah, I'm like, have you ever heard of the Enneagram, by the way? So
yep, I've been getting for about 10 years. I get their little daily emails. I'm a 7. But again, with those, I know the numbers, but I can't tell you how the numbers are supposed to relate to each other. Whereas with this one, I know exactly how the colors interact because I can see them in my mind on the chart. You know what I mean?
Totally. No, I can see you being a 7. 7 is, you know, in Enneagram, it's kind of the adventurer, right? It's I want to try new stuff. I sort of, everyone gets more life when I'm around, you know, you're sort of that shot of Red Bull, if you will. And You
Yeah.
like picking people up. I'm the 9 on the Enneagram, which is like the peacemaker, which I just try to, and I can see all perspectives. So I can, I can see my perspective, I can see the kid's perspective, my wife's, et cetera. And I just try to keep the peace. Kaya says, I wish I wasn't, but I'm probably a yellow. What would you say to people who think they're a color that they wish they weren't?
I think it's really important to understand that with every color personality, there are some natural strengths and some natural potential weaknesses. So the goal should not be to feel like, oh, I'm the wrong color and I want to try to be this. It should be to figure out, how do I minimize my weaknesses and learn to really live in my strengths. So for yellow, for example, some of our weaknesses are that it's not always appropriate to want to be the center of attention. Sometimes we are too focused on ourselves and we're not good at remembering details that other people share. We're terrible at learning names. We interrupt because we blurt sometimes. Okay, those are not the traits that I'm proud of being a yellow. But what I can focus on is, as a yellow, I can bring positivity and good energy into a conversation. I can strike up a conversation with someone that feels lonely or that needs, someone to talk to them, because I'm not afraid to have a conversation with someone that I haven't met. So it's not that I should say, oh, I don't want to be a yellow. I don't want to be a yellow who lives in my weaknesses. And I'm half yellow, half red. So I'll just, the other side of that, the red example, reds can be bossy. I don't want to be bossy and rude. My husband tells me sometimes that I need to proofread my text better and add a little more emojis or something, because sometimes I can be too straight to the point and they come off as rude. And even though reds can be really good at sizing up a situation and we just kind of know what needs to be done, nobody likes a person who's just always right. So sometimes we have to hold back a little bit and show some humility and actively, not be bossy or listen to someone else's idea. Even if at the end of the day we're right, it may not be the best move to tell them that right away. So again, I'm not saying, well, I shouldn't be a red personality. No, I just don't have to be a bossy, rude red. I can still be a red that gets stuff done, but I can try to just be a more pleasant red personality. So don't get hung up on, oh, I want to change my personality. Just learn to grow in your strengths. And then the next step then is going to be to cultivate areas where you're not naturally good at things and to work on developing what I call learned skills. So, you can't be everything, but once you notice, oh, I'm not naturally good at whatever it is, there's no blue in my body. I'd score an absolute 0 on the blue scale. Well, those are the detail-oriented people. It's not easy to be a business owner who's not good at keeping records.
Sure.
That's a struggle for me. But I know that about myself, but it doesn't give me a pass. I don't get to just be like, oh, I don't have to do those things. I don't need to pay taxes because I'm a blue. I mean, I'm a yellow. I'm not a blue, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I don't get to tell my employees, I know I told you I was going to pay you every 2 weeks, but I forgot to do payroll this week, so I'll just hook you up next time. I'm not going to have employees if I don't get some systems in place.
Yep.
So I have two choices. I can either accept that I'm not good at it and then I can hire it out, or I can figure it out. I have to, learn how to do it or find somebody who can, but you don't just get a pass. Whether that's a physical task or an attitude type issue, understanding yourself is the first step, but then you have to do something with that knowledge besides just be like, oh, that's just the way I am. I'm just a rude person. I'm a red. No.
I love it. Kaya, by the way, says, love that. Thank you. And then at one point she said, yes, 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 as you were explaining, I think strengths and weaknesses. And Jay Parker's watching. What up, brother? I think, every color has, like you said, gifts and things that you can celebrate and push into, and probably some blind spots and that you can look for. And like you said, so, and that's true of every color. So I love that. Okay. A couple more questions before we go.
Okay.
If you, obviously a lot's changed in the last 3 months.
Yep.
What's one thing that's changed that you are happy about, that you'd like to see continue as we sort of try to re-enter what we were used to?
I gotta tell you, the first month was rough because we aren't used to quite as much togetherness, but I have so enjoyed the extra time with my husband. I told him the other day, I'm gonna be really sad when you go back to work. I love it that we just get to operate on our own schedule. We stay up late and we sleep in late, because it works for us, and he's not getting up and leaving for work at 7 o'clock in the morning. And we've had so much more together time. It's been great. We'll be married 24 years next month. And yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just been really, really fun. We have 3 boys that live at home, and then our 19-year-old daughter lives in New York, and she came home, quote, for 2 weeks when this whole thing first started. We kept her home for 7, before I let her fly back, because yeah, everything was just kind of blowing up. She doesn't live in the city, but she still had to go fly into New Jersey to go home. But eventually I had to let her get on with her life, and she stayed did her 2 weeks isolation at home, and then her restaurant is still closed, but she's been working on the food truck for the last month or two. So.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Yeah. I got a daughter in this field as well. She was actually working full time at both a bakery and a restaurant, doing about 75 hours a week before the shutdown.
Wow.
And I don't think her bakery is going to be able to reopen, but her restaurant, I think, is going to be okay. But she lives right across the street from West Point Military Academy in Highland Falls, New York.
Wow.
And so when West Point is not in session, the restaurants, operate at a little bit less capacity, because the town just is, their economy is based on that. So I think it'll be different when school can go back. But her boss is pretty solid, and just offered her a manager position to manage the restaurant. That happened like right before the shutdown, like end of February. She got the offer for a full-time salaried position, and then boom. So I think he'll be back on the table in a few months, but we'll see.
Good. Oh man,
But it's just having that extra time with the family. My husband is a high school teacher, and so he's been home since March 15th, and I've been loving it. Just selfishly, I absolutely love it.
That's great. I think a lot of people that I've talked to, a lot of people who are on this call, have said very, very similar things. They've looked at it and said, man, I feel like I was missing the mark for a long time, and this helped me realize some of what I was missing. And when we can go back to what it was like, I don't know that I totally will. There'll be some significant changes in the way I operate so that I could keep taking advantage for family being that one, just like you.
Yeah. Did I share with you the 936 Saturdays story?
Oh my gosh, you did. And I told you we had to talk about it.
I got a little bit of a head start, because I did start learning this lesson 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was 6 years ago now. I was at this conference in Tennessee. It was a regional DJ conference, and there was only one other woman that was speaking, and she was talking about to wedding DJs in the context of making sure that you are working with ideal clients, and that you're charging enough to actually make a living and support your family, because you are sacrificing something. And I will never forget, she looked at the audience and said, those of you that have kids, do you realize that from the time your child is born until the time they turn 18, you only have 936 Saturdays? And I looked at my husband and I said, holy crap, honey, I don't want to do weddings anymore. We've been in the wedding business for 15 years at that point. And I said, I don't think I want to do that anymore. We were doing 40 to 50 weddings a year. And I'm like, we're going to all of a sudden wake up one day and our kids are going to be grown and gone, and we've missed it because they're in school during the week, and then we're gone every weekend. Yeah. And that's when we made the intentional choice to cut back on weddings and ramp up trivia. At that time, we were doing, like I said, 40, 50 weddings and only like 1 or 2 trivia games a week. Mm-hmm. And I realized that trivia business model, where I can pay a host to go out and I'm more of a owner, operator, manager, sales, I could do most of that while my kids are in school. And then I still have my evenings, and then I got my weekends back. So I only do 2 weddings a year now, max, so that I can really control. I only work for people that I would truly want to be friends with and want to hang out with in real life. I get to be really picky. I'm not leaving my weddings to go, or leaving my kids for weddings that are like bridezillas and I'm not going to enjoy when I get there. Yeah. And I'm charging twice as much as I used to. And people are fine with that, because I do a really, really good job as an MC. My husband DJs. I've got the planning background, and we've been in the industry for, like I said, 24 years. So, but I'm not doing it every weekend. It's just, my family is too important to me. And like I said, I've got 3 out of my 4 kids are at home. My oldest is 20, and I don't know how long he's going to stay here. And then my little guys are 13 and 14. And maybe when they're all gone, I'll go back to working more weekends. But right now I'm committed to designing a life that works for my family.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Jay says, real talk, exclamation mark. Good for you. with this. I don't even know what you call this, but this thing.
The hang loose. That's
Hang
the
loose.
hang
There you
loose from
go.
Hawaii.
You know,
Yeah.
that's so powerful. 936 Saturdays. I mean, that's why, I just made a change in careers right as COVID was
Yep.
happening.
Yep.
And mine was the same thing. I've got, I don't know if some of my colleagues and partners are watching, but I was an owner in a company, and I found myself unable to put it away, to put it down. Really at any time, weekends, nights, it sort of was always with me, whether I was actually working or even if I wasn't. When we'd be in the car going somewhere, the joke became, someone would ask a question, I wouldn't hear it, and everyone would say, "Daddy, where are you?" And the joke became that I'm playing chess. Like, I'm always moving pieces in my head of the business, of what needs to happen.
Yep.
And my wife and daughter have had a lot of health issues, and so to give them what everybody needed at home and to manage the business, no one was really getting any of me anymore, frankly. And so I went to make a change for the same reason. So I love that. 936 Saturdays.
Well, and I'm not saying you have to give up, your entire weekend, but I think it's really good to think about. I have another friend who I know, she and her husband have a DJ entertainment company in Sacramento, and they made a choice a few years ago to stop booking Sunday weddings. And they just said, we're not doing it anymore. We have one day a week. We're completely off. And this is for family only, family and church. And that's it. And if someone booked a Sunday event, they had other people they would refer out. And that was just a boundary that they set. So they would at least have that one day a week. So I know it's not everything is black and white. Not everything is simple in this industry. And especially depending on what your niche is. If you're in catering and events, maybe you don't have that much flexibility, but maybe you need to find a couple of weeknights where you change things up and draw some boundaries. So
I love it. Carl says, I play checkers. Carl, you played 2 games of chess at the same time. I know you. That's awesome. Vickie, I love tonight. I love getting to know you. I just want to keep spending more time with you because I feel better being around you.
Thanks.
So
no, this has been another highlight of the COVID crisis, was getting to connect with new people online, and you were definitely at the top of my list of new friends.
I love it. So, well, thanks for contributing to the group the ways you do. You lift everyone up, and you're always coming up with new ideas. Keep bobbing and weaving. I'm wishing you that things keep coming back, that your restaurants keep coming back, that you and your 11 team members can keep getting into those bars and those restaurants to keep people smiling and laughing and keep revenue growing, etc. And keep enjoying time with your family. Thanks again for being a part of our group. I really appreciate it.
No, it's been my pleasure, and I'm not going anywhere. I'll be seeing you guys around the group, and thanks for taking the time to have a conversation. So.
Love it. You've got it, my friend. Yeah. Everybody, thanks for watching. Mike Ross just joined. Mike, we're checking out, but good to see you, brother. And if there's, Kaya says thank you. So I think Kaya's really connected to some of your message.
And I don't want to be like a total infomercial. I do have free resources that you don't have to buy something to benefit.
Oh, yeah.
But my website has some articles. And like I said, that little test, you can go to VickieMusni.com. If you want more, I'm happy to have that conversation. But that really was not my intent.
No.
And then my books are on Amazon. Just put my name into an Amazon search and you can find my books there.
Spell your name for people so they've got your website and they can spell it correctly.
Vickie. And then last name is Musni.
Okay, cool. So VickieMusni.com, and then they can put your name in Amazon. They'll find your books.
Yep, I'll post a comment in the chat so I make sure that I'm in there. And
Perfect. And anybody, of course, just connect with Vickie through the group. So I linked her a little bit ago. She'll be here. She'll post. So go find her. Carl says, great one, Vickie. Jay gives the heart sign. Jay's full of heart. Kaya says, yes, please. Tammy Brazil out of Texas says, thank you. Chris Fisher, he's out of Ohio, says, great talk. Thanks, Jason and Vickie. Cool. Kaya says, thank you. This has been Mike Ross. So sorry late to the game. Mike, no worries, buddy. We're all busy. You got kids, 2 kids, 3 on the way. You got a job. It's all good. So tonight, people really received this well tonight, Vickie.
Good. Thank you. I will say one more little thing. If you want to connect on Facebook, I do not accept friend requests from people that I haven't met unless they send a message. That is just a personal rule that I have. Maybe it's because I'm a woman who works in a very male-dominated industry, both with DJs and in the bar restaurant world. So I'm a little bit, that's just my rule. So I have a public page that is also just my name, and you can follow and like that if you just want to follow me professionally. But if you want to connect personally, please send a message that says, you know, hey, I heard you on the interview with Jason, or I saw you in the, you know, Powerplant network, something, so I have a reason to know that you're not just a weirdo.
That sounds wise. I would follow that advice. George says great information. Other people are connecting. I love it. Vickie, you're the best. Thanks so much. I hope people connect with you, and have a great, great night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon. Have a
Hugs
good
to
night.
Shannon too. I hope she's doing well and having a better day today.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I'll let her know. You're awesome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.